Hi guys, welcome back. You want to come over, Pippa? Pippa's here. I know I got a couple comments in the last video that you guys missed Pippa. She's exhausted and she goes and finds somewhere to sleep, and so right now she's in the passenger seat. You guys can't see it because I don't have a camera set up. Obviously, I'm literally using my GPS phone mount from the ceiling. Today is gutting the van / prep work day. This was obviously done over multiple days and weeks. So there is no one day that we decided hey, this is what we're doing today. We kind of just did it as things came up. If you guys haven't seen the explanation video, I've already uploaded all of that. But today we're gutting the van. These are not how-to videos. I'm going to say this in every single one. This is just what I did. I'll put any inspiration videos that I had down in the description box, if I used someone's video to explain how I did something or to learn how to do something. But I'm not making how-to videos. This is just what I did. If you would have done something different, that's great, that's fine, but this is what I decided to do. So like I explained in my initial video about the van, we really had to do almost nothing mechanically on the van except for the brakes, and the brakes are still not quite there. We still have to go through, and we think we have a vacuum hose leak somewhere. But the brakes were kind of spongy, and we wanted to make sure everything was in tip-top order because I was towing my trailer up to Grand Junction. And so for a 4 or 5 plus hour tow with a vehicle I hadn't towed before, you obviously want to make sure your brakes are working. And so we decided to replace the master cylinder. This was actually such an easy job, especially on this van, because it is located right in the front. You don't have to dig down into the engine. It was super easy to do. So we did the master cylinder ourselves and then got the parts at Napa, everything like that. So I maybe spent $100 to be able to do this. Obviously it was a learning process. I really recommend you guys getting your vans or your car's manual. This is the one that I have. I don't know why this isn't more recommended, and I'm not actually sure why I haven't recommended this in the past, to just pick up the actual manual of your car. But these things are so comprehensive and they have all the diagrams and all the information that you need that it makes things so much easier. And I feel especially as a woman, if I would have had this kind of resource and the kind of information, instead of just being just Google it or just YouTube it, obviously go on YouTube, go on Google, but I highly recommend picking up the repair manual, not just your actual car manual. That was such a side tangent, but it's just something that we should all strive to try to do. And especially for women, I think it's really important for us to try to gain some confidence in learning some of these things, because trust me, they are not that hard and you can definitely figure it out. Now, after that spiel, so we bled all of my brakes except for then the front two. The little bleeder valve on the first front two were completely rusted. And so my boyfriend was I can't open these to finish bleeding out your brakes, which gets all the air out of your brake lines. I'm gonna break these off, and if I do it out in the middle of nowhere, we're gonna be screwed. So he was go into town and see if the people at Grease Monkey or whatever will do it for you and see what happens. So I took my van to Grease Monkey. They broke both of the bleeder valves we thought, and I ended up bringing them new calipers. I just went over to AutoZone and bought them. It was really nice of them to just let me buy my own parts, so I didn't have to have the markup at Grease Monkey, and I just paid the guy under the table to put the new calipers on. We didn't have to be laying in the desert in 85-degree weather to do it, and it took maybe an hour. So I have new calipers now on the front, and so now we can bleed my brakes on all 4 brake lines super easy whenever that needs done again, because all of the valves are now working. And we did then the brake pads, and we did the emergency brake while we were then out camping again. That was literally everything that we had to do. There's been some mystery electrical stuff that the previous owner seems to have messed with. And that is where, like I said in the manual, those diagrams have come in handy, because we're trying to figure out what actually came stock on the car and what the previous owner added and what they added it for, because we can obviously tap into some of the stuff that they added, but we're just trying to figure out what was what. And so that's where that manual is really helpful. Anyways, back to the previous owner. They had also, I think they dinged the front of the van on something, it looks like. And so they cracked the front grate that holds in the headlights and the turn signals, and they had already repurchased that and were about to put it in when they listed the van for sale. And obviously it was kind of a job. You have to take everything off and then replace that entire frame. It's all one thing. So I just went ahead and did that. That was super easy. All you do is pop out the headlights and the turn signals, and then I literally put them back in the frame, and that was it. It was more like tedious than anything. I was just screwing things in willy-nilly, and I didn't realize it until I drove home that night. I drove back to my campsite that night, and my like headlights were pointed wonky, and so you have to adjust those. Make sure you don't just put them in willy-nilly like I did. And then I still have a cracked turn signal. I'm in like a dead zone right now for Amazon packages. Within like a 300-mile radius, I cannot get a freaking Amazon package delivered, and it's really annoying because it's hard to find stuff obviously on older vehicles just in stock at the store. So I have to wait now until I go back to South Dakota for my doctor's appointment next month to just get some of this stuff. But I've already ordered new LED headlights and turn signals so that everything is now on LED instead of halogen, because my lights are super dim, and I already have a little bit of trouble night driving as it is. And so I just wanted to go ahead and upgrade all of that, not to something excessive. I don't want to be like a frat boy on the road, but I need my old lady 33 in a couple months old eyes to be able to see, you know, a coyote crossing the road so I don't hit it. That's really all I need. Or to like see the center lane. That's it. I just need those things. So that is ordered and will get put in eventually. So on to the actual gutting of the van. So this part was really exciting, and this was the most fun part, obviously, because the previous owners had some quirky little habits. If you guys haven't picked up already on some of that, they may come across these videos, so I don't want to say anything like too terrible, but they left a lot of things in the van that are not legal in every single state, which I can't imagine leaving behind my things like that, but we have found a lot of interesting things. So one of the first things we wanted to do was pull out pretty much everything driving across state lines to make sure nothing was in the van, let's say recreationally. And so we started with obviously the front. We found a ton of stuff in the front, but we pulled off then all the plastic panels in the back, and these plastic panels are not going to stay. We took out the seat belts behind them, and we want a more square build. So it would have been super easy to just leave the plastic paneling in, put some insulation behind it, and then put the panels back on, and then you have a clean wall. You don't have to, when you do a van build, like build like a slat wall or something like you see on Instagram. You can just put the plastic back in if you want to stick insulation behind it. I wanted a little bit thicker insulation because obviously I have the dog in here, and you guys will see that in the next video. But when we pulled everything off, we did not find anything like fun, you know, fun, but like we found a iPod from like 2005, 2006 maybe, like fresh iPod from the day. And so I ordered a charging cable for it. So we're gonna have to see what's on it because I feel like it's such a time capsule. And all I'm imagining is some kid like on a road trip who like thought it'd be funny to like stick it in where like the seatbelts go, and then it fell into the wall, and then the parents didn't know, or the kid didn't want to say something, and like it's been lost back there forever. Headliner was super simple to take out. I'm not sure why I didn't do that on my CRV, my very first car, because it would have been so easy to take that out and throw some more insulation up there. But I didn't know it was as easy as it was. In this car, at least, it was one clip for the lights. I thought all of everything would be like wired in, all the ducting for the air conditioning and stuff would be wired in differently, and it wasn't. It was just one whole piece, and it was super easy to take out. Same with the floor. I don't know what the original floor is in a lot of these vans. I know that the previous owner is the one that did the like intermediate floor that was in here, and so we ripped that up because it was already, there were some holes underneath, and so it was already damp and stuff under there from driving in the rain. And so we wanted to obviously get that out and get that aired out before I put then my insulation in, and obviously seal up all of those holes so there wasn't more stuff happening. The last biggest thing that we did was take out the rear air conditioning and heating unit. So this is the thing that gets all of the air to the back of the van. So whether that's just vent air, whether that's air conditioning, whether that's heating. And so this was kind of a bigger job than either me or my boyfriend realized. I'll link the video below of what I used to figure out what we were doing back there. It was really easy once we watched the video and we saw how everything was connected, but you do have air conditioning lines that run back there, so you do have to make sure that you release the pressure in the system before you just start cutting stuff, or you could have that refrigerant all over the place. And so luckily we had watched that video. We knew to depressurize it. We evacuated the refrigerant, we just put it into a jar. We cheated a little bit, so instead of ordering a plug kit for the air conditioning, my boyfriend ended up just brazing the ends of the pipes. He cut them as close to the front of the van as he could. Then there wasn't just refrigerant filling up like an entire length of a van just for it to not go anywhere in the back. So we cut it right behind the driver's seat underneath. I'll show you guys. And then he just brazed the ends of them, which is kind of like a crimp welding situation. And then we literally just gunked as much JB weld around it as humanly possible. And my air conditioning works great. I just got a recharge hose, and like I think it took 3 cans of refrigerant to fill back up, but I have like ice cold air conditioning again and everything is working fine. So don't think that you have to do exactly like everybody says, but at the same time, if you don't have a handy boyfriend that like walks around with welding supplies all the time, there are plug kits out there. We just, again, we're in an Amazon dead zone and we couldn't find somewhere to order it, so we just kind of got creative. The reason we took that out, I know a lot of people maybe wouldn't, and you definitely don't have to if you want heat and cool in the back. I knew for me, I'm going to put probably a diesel heater back there, and so I don't need both back there. And when I'm driving, Pippa usually sits up front anyways, and that's where the air conditioning is going. There's really no reason to air condition the entire back of the van if nobody's sitting back there while we're driving. And also we get that extra little bit of room for when I build my bed back there, and I get that extra little bit of room to be able to have some floor space and garage space under the bed or whatever. So yeah, so that's what we did. We obviously sealed everything to make sure that it was mouse proofed and that there was nothing that was going to come through the floor like water wise or anything like that once we put the floor back on. And yeah, that was pretty much it. That's everything that we did. I spent a lot of time cleaning, trying to get all the dust out of here so it was clean as possible before we started putting everything else in. But this is just a dirty process. No matter what kind of car you have, they're all like this, I feel like, unless you get something like brand new from the dealer. But yeah, so this is cleaning out the van. I am really excited to show you guys more. But for now, that is all I have, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!